welcome, and thank you for joining me tonight. Before we begin, take a moment to find a comfortable position and allow the day to gently fade away. Tonight, we journey to the land between two rivers, to ancient Mesopotamia. We will walk along the banks of the Tigris and Euphrates, through towering city gates and markets alive with the hum of trade. We will climb the steps of ziggurats, where incense drifts upward into the heavens, and pause beside courtyards where families gather beneath the glow of lantern light. This is a world of farmers and scribes, priests and stargazers, a land of clay, water, and sky, where stories were pressed into tablets, and prayers rose to the gods beneath the endless stars. As the story unfolds, let the words guide you like the slow current of the rivers, carrying you deeper into calm and deeper into rest. So, settle in, and let us begin our journey. Dawn along the Euphrates. The night is fading. The last stars linger faintly above, scattered like silver dust across the pale sky. And below, the great Euphrates River awakens. Its waters move slowly, heavy with depth, wide as a plain. Mist curls across its surface in ribbons of white, drifting gently above the current. The first light of dawn touches the river, turning it soft gold. The air is cool, still heavy with the quiet of night, yet carrying the promise of the day. Along the riverbank, life begins to stir. Clay brick houses, simple and square, rise from the earth-colored ground. Their flat rooftops catch the first light, their walls painted in soft hues of ochre and red. From narrow doorways, families emerge. Men step out carrying tools slung across their shoulders, wooden plows, baskets, ropes worn by years of use. Women carry jars, balanced carefully upon their hips, their clay sides shining faintly with dew. Children follow sleepily, their bare feet brushing against the packed earth, their voices soft and uncertain in the cool air. The fields stretch wide beyond the river's edge. Barley and wheat grow in orderly rows, their stalks shimmering faintly in the light. Oxen wait at the edge of the furrows, their broad forms steady, their breath misting in the chill. Farmers press their hands against their animals, murmuring quiet words, then guide them forward. The plows sink into the soil, turning it dark and rich, releasing its scent. The rhythm begins. Step, press, pull, turn. It is slow, steady, unbroken. The rhythm of a life tied to the land, repeated across centuries. Near the water, shepherds guide their flocks to drink, goats move in clusters, their bells tinkling softly, while sheep press together in a shifting mass of wool. The animals drink in silence, their reflections trembling in the current. The herdsmen watch with calm eyes, staffs resting across their shoulders, their movements unhurried. Behind them, the sun rises higher, painting their forms in shades of amber. On the river itself, fishermen guide their reed boats into the current. The boats are narrow, curved upward at each end, their surfaces sealed with bitumen to hold the water out. The men push long poles into the riverbed, steadying their craft, moving in slow arcs across the water. Nets are cast with practiced ease, spreading wide before sinking into the depths. From time to time, a fisherman bows his head toward the water, a silent gesture of respect for the river that sustains his life. Birds lift from the reeds as the sun brightens. Herons stretch their long necks, cranes spread their wings, small finches dart through the air. Their caws scatter like threads across the morning, weaving sound into the stillness. The scent of damp reeds rises from the banks, mingling with the fragrance of fresh bread carried on the breeze. From the city nearby, ovens have been lit, their smoke drifting upward in pale grey spirals. A woman kneels at the water's edge, filling a jar with river water. She dips it carefully, waiting for the current to steady before lifting it again. The jar is heavy in her arms, and she steadies herself before rising. Her daughter trails behind, carrying a smaller pot, her steps uneven but determined. The woman smiles softly, adjusting the weight, and together they return toward the homes, their figures outlined in the morning glow beyond the fields. The outline of the city walls begins to emerge in the light. Massive gates tower above the plain, their surfaces covered in glazed bricks of deep blue. Images of lions, bulls, and dragons stride across their panels, their forms gleaming as the sun climbs higher. The walls themselves seem to breathe with the life of the city within, a hum just beginning to rise as the day awakens. Along the riverside path, a caravan begins its journey. Donkeys carry baskets woven from reeds, filled with grain, wool, and clay vessels sealed with wax. Merchants walk beside them, their robes wrapped tightly against the cool air, their voices low as they speak of routes and trades. Children sit upon the backs of the animals, their eyes wide with sleep, their heads nodding with each step. The caravan moves eastward, following the river's bend, its path worn smooth by generations of feet. The Euphrates continues its steady flow, carrying with it all things: boats, birds, reflections, prayers. Its current is patient, unbroken, endless. The farmers labor, the shepherds watch, the fishermen cast, the caravans depart. All of it belongs to the river, tied to its rhythm, carried by its breath. And as the sun climbs higher, painting the water in gold and the sky in pale blue, the land awakens fully. Voices rise in the distance, animals shift, bells ring softly. Nets splash into the water once more. Life has begun again, as it always has, upon the banks of the Euphrates. The city gates of Babylon. From the river's edge, the road widens and climbs toward the heart of the city. The air grows warmer as the sun rises higher, and the hum of life deepens. Ahead, the walls of Babylon rise, vast, commanding, painted, in colors that glow beneath the light. The walls are massive, built of sun-baked brick, their surfaces glazed with deep hues of blue and gold. Upon them stride great images, lions with open jaws, bulls with powerful shoulders, dragons with curling tails. Each figure gleams faintly, as though alive, their presence fierce and eternal. The towers rise tall at intervals, their shadows stretching, long across the plain. From their heights, watchmen look outward, their silhouettes calm against the morning sky. At the center, the gates stand. The Ishtar Gate towers above, its surface covered in deep lapis blue, polished smooth to reflect. The light of the sun, rows of lions stride proudly along its panels, their bodies white, their manes golden. They seem to move as the light shifts, their forms fierce, their eyes steady, guardians of the city within. The gate's arches soar upward, carved with detail, painted with brilliance. It is less an entrance, more a threshold between worlds. Merchants arrive at its base, guiding donkeys laden with goods, baskets of grain, jars of oil, bolts of cloth. Their voices mingle as they speak with the guards, presenting their wares, their offerings, their stories from distant lands. The guards wear long tunics, their spears resting upright, their eyes steady as they listen, then wave the travelers. Through, each caravan passes slowly, its steps measured, its movement unhurried, as though even the animals feel the weight of crossing beneath the gate. Families approach as well. Mothers carry baskets of dates, children cling to their robes, fathers lead the way with staffs in hand. Their steps falter as they gaze upward at the lions and bulls that stride across the surface. The children point, whispering in awe, their faces bright with wonder. The parents smile softly, for they to feel it, the sense of entering a place larger than themselves, a place of order, of history, of power. Priests pass through with solemn steps, their robes long, their headdresses high. They carry incense burners, the smoke drifting upward as they bow slightly at the threshold. Their voices murmur prayers to Ishtar, the goddess of love and war, whose gate bears her name. Each word is low, measured, rising faintly above the hum of the crowd. The fragrance of resin and myrrh mingles with the scent of dust and sunwarm. Brick, filling the space with weight and reverence. Musicians stand at the side of the gate, their instruments lifted. The slow beat of a drum echoes softly against the walls, steady, resonant. A reed flute joins, its tone high and pure, weaving lightly through the sound. The music does not overwhelm, it drifts, guiding the steps of those who pass, filling the air with calm as the crowd moves through. The city opens beyond. Wide streets stretch forward, paved with stone, lined with tall buildings whose roofs are flat and bright beneath the sun. Balconies are draped with woven cloth, painted in red and green, fluttering in the breeze. The smell of bread baking grows, stronger, mingled with the fragrance of roasted lamb, herbs, and beer fermenting in clay jars. Voices rise in greetings, merchants call softly to one another. Animals shuffle in slow procession. For those who pass beneath the Ishtar gate, the transition is unmistakable. Behind them lies the plain, the fields, the river, the herds, the caravans. Before them lies the city, the hum of life, the rhythm of trade, the presence of temples rising above the rooftops. Each step forward carries them deeper into its embrace. The walls remain behind, steady and vast, their lions and dragons gleaming against the sun. They watch as they always have, as they always will, guardians not just of brick and stone, but of the life that pulses within. The market square. The streets widen as you move deeper into the city, their stone paving worn smooth by countless feet. Shadows stretch from the tall walls, but ahead, the light opens into the heart of Babylon, the market square. It is vast, filled with stalls of wood and red, shaded by cloth awnings that ripple gently in the breeze. Lanterns hang from poles, though in daylight they do not glow, their painted skins of birds and flowers swaying lightly overhead. The square hums with quiet energy. It is not hurried, not chaotic, only a steady flow of voices, footsteps, and motion woven together like threads upon a loom. Merchants arrange their wares with careful hands. Baskets of grain stand in neat rows, their surfaces gleaming like gold in the sun. Clay jars hold oil, sealed with wax, their tops covered in woven reeds. Bundles of wool are stacked high, soft and pale, the faint scent of lanolin drifting into the air. From one stall, incense smolders in a shallow dish, frankincense, myrrh and cedarwood, their fragrance curling upward. blending with the heat. Other merchants offer spices carried by caravan from distant lands. Cinnamon bark lies in neat bundles. Peppercorns spill across cloth. Saffron threads glow like fire in small clay bowls. Their scent is sharp and rich, filling the air with warmth. Customers lean close, lifting samples to their noses, closing their eyes as they breathe them in. Coins clink softly as trades are made, hands exchanging silver for scent, cloth for taste. At another stall, a brewer pours barley beer into clay cups. Its surface foams faintly, its fragrance earthy and sweet. Men sit upon low stools, sipping slowly, their conversation low and measured. A boy scurries between them, carrying trays of flatbread sprinkled with sesame seeds. The bread is warm, its crust crisp, its center soft. Those who eat tear it gently with their fingers, sharing pieces with companions, smiling softly as they chew. Nearby, craftsmen work openly before their customers. A potter turns his wheel, his hands steady as he shapes wet clay into bowls and jars. The vessel rises slowly beneath his fingers, its surface glistening in the light, before he sets it aside to dry. Beside him, a metalworker hammers bronze upon an anvil, shaping a blade with measured strikes. The sound rings clearly through the square, not harsh, but steady, a heartbeat of the city itself. Children weave between the stalls, their laughter spilling into the air. They carry small toys, carved animals, clay marbles, wooden flutes. One boy blows a high note upon his flute, the sound sharp and sudden, drawing the smiles of those nearby. His mother calls him back with a gentle gesture, her voice calm, her face softened by patience. In one corner of the market, musicians play. A lyre's strings are plucked slowly, their tones bright but gentle, joined by the low hum of a drum struck with soft hands. A reed pipe follows, its notes winding upward like smoke. The music drifts across the square, weaving between voices, echoing softly against the walls. It is not performance, it is presence, a sound that belongs to the air itself. Priests walk. Among the people, their robes long, their steps unhurried. They pause at stalls, speaking quietly, their eyes watchful. At times they raise their hands in blessing, offering prayers for prosperity, for balance, for the favor of the gods. Merchants bow their heads in respect, their hands pausing briefly in their work before resuming. As the sun climbs higher, the heat grows. Awnings ripple, casting shifting patterns of light and shadow across the square. The voices soften, footsteps. Slow, the rhythm of the market adjusting to the weight of midday. The fragrance of spices lingers, mingled with bread, beer, incense, and the faint metallic tints of bronze. The sound of music continues, slow and steady, guiding the day forward, and all the while the market breathes. It exhales in laughter, in trade, in prayer, in the steady press of life. It is the heartbeat of Babylon, measured, steady, eternal. The family courtyard home. Beyond the noise of the market, the streets narrow into quieter lanes. The walls are lower here, the shadows softer. Clay brick houses line either side, their walls smooth and pale, their rooftops flat and steady beneath. The sky at the center of each home lies a courtyard, open to the air, filled with the rhythm of daily life. You step into one such home, and the world changes. The courtyard is shaded by woven mats, stretched across beams overhead. Light filters through in pale strips, falling upon the clay floor in shifting patterns. A small shrine stands against one wall, its base of stone, its surface marked with offerings of bread, fruit, and small clay figures of the gods. Incense smoulders faintly, its smoke curling upward, its fragrance sharp and sweet. In the far corner, a woman kneels beside a clay oven. Its surface glows faintly with heat, and she works steadily, shaping dough into flat rounds. She presses them against the oven wall, where they cling and bake, their surfaces blistering, their scent filling the air with warmth. Beside her, young girl carries a basket of sesame seeds, sprinkling them gently across each piece before it is served. Their motions are quiet, practiced, yet filled with care. In another corner, a man sits weaving a reed mat. The reeds are long and pale, their surfaces smooth beneath his fingers. He bends them in steady rhythm, crossing one over the other, the pattern slowly taking form. A boy sits near him, imitating the work with shorter reeds, his motions clumsy, but earnest. From time to time, the man pauses to guide his son's hands, offering soft words, his voice patient and low. At the center of the courtyard, a jar of water stands upon a clay stand. Its surface is cool to the touch, beads of condensation forming along its side. A woman lifts a ladle, filling a cup, offering it to a child who drinks deeply. The sound of his swallow is soft, but in the stillness of the courtyard it carries a reminder of the river's gift brought into the home. The air hums with small sounds, the crackle of the oven fire, the rustle of reeds as they are woven, the gentle scrape of a wooden bowl as grain is poured into it. Each sound belongs, each one part of the steady rhythm of the day. Above, doves coo from the rooftop. Their shadows flicker across the courtyard as they move, their wings spreading before they lift into the sky. The family glances upward, their faces brighten for a moment, then return to their work. At midday, the household gathers. Bread is pulled from the oven, warm and fragrant. A bowl of dates is set upon the table, their skins shining in the light. Cheese rests beside them, pale and crumbly, its scent faint but sharp. The family sits together on low stools, their voices quiet as they share. Children laugh softly, parents speak in even tones, grandparents watch with steady eyes. The food is simple, but it is enough. It is shared, and in its sharing, it becomes abundant. As the meal ends, the family returns to their tasks. Some carry baskets of wool to be spun into thread. Others sweep the courtyard floor, their brooms stirring, the dust into brief clouds before it settles again. A young boy crouches near the shrine, placing a fresh piece of bread upon its surface. He bows his head as his parents taught him, then steps back quietly. The smoke of incense thickens once more, drifting upward into the open sky. The courtyard breathes with life. It is not grand, not filled with wealth, but it is steady, rooted, whole. Here, the rhythm of the city fades, leaving only the rhythm of family, of work, of food, of prayer, of rest. It is a rhythm as enduring as the walls that rise around it, as constant as the river that flows beyond. And when the light shifts overhead, casting long shadows across the clay floor, the courtyard holds it all, the laughter, the labor, the silence, as though it has always known these things and always will. The ziggurat at midday. The sun stands high now, pouring its light across the city. The streets shimmer with heat, their stones warm beneath each step. Shadows shorten, pulling tight against the walls of homes and markets. And above it all, rising, higher than rooftops, higher than towers, stands the ziggurat. Its base is massive, square and steady, built of countless bricks baked in the sun. Step upon step, the great structure ascends, each level smaller than the one below, until it narrows. At the top, a stairway reaching skyward. Its sides glow in the brightness of noon, their surfaces painted in bands of red, white, and blue. From every angle, it dominates the horizon, its presence both earthly and divine. The people climb its steps in steady procession. Priests lead. The way, their robes long, their headdresses torn, their hands carrying bowls of incense and vessels of oil. Behind them follow attendants, bearing offerings of bread, dates, milk, and honey. Their footsteps echo faintly upon the stone, there. Movements slow but unwavering. The scent of resin and cedar rises from their bowls, drifting upward in soft ribbons of smoke. At each level, they pause. Prayers are spoken in low, steady tones. The words are ancient, passed from mouth to mouth, generation to generation. They call upon the gods of the sky, of the earth, of the rivers, upon Ishtar, upon Marduk, upon Shamash, whose light fills the world. The voices blend together, rising in harmony, then fading into silence before the climb continues. Children watch from the streets below. Their eyes are wide, their voices hushed, their fingers pointing upward as the procession ascends. The ziggurat towers above them like a mountain carved by hands, its steps too vast to measure, its top lost against the brightness of the sky. To them, it is less a building than a ladder reaching into heaven. At the summit, the air is cooler. A shrine rests upon the highest level, its walls painted with images of stars and constellations. Inside, an altar waits, its surface smooth, its edges carved with symbols. Priests set the offerings upon it with care. Bread is laid, milk poured, incense pressed into flame. Smoke rises in great clouds, drifting outward, carried by the wind across the city. Its fragrance settles into streets, into homes, into courtyards, filling Babylon with the breath of devotion. From the summit, the world spreads wide. The Euphrates glimmers in the distance, winding like a ribbon of gold. Fields stretch beyond, their barley and wheat swaying faintly from the heat. The walls and gates of the city stand firm, their lions and dragons gleaming. And above it all, the sky, vast, endless, untouched. The priests raise their hands, their voices rising once more. This time the words are not whispered, but carried. Strongly into the air, they call for balance, for harvest, for peace, for the gods to look kindly upon the city. Their words drift outward, lifted on the smoke, carried into the horizon below. The people bow their heads. Merchants pause at their stalls. Mothers hush their children. Soldiers rest their spears against the ground. For a moment, the entire city breathes together, its rhythm stilled, its gaze turned upward. Then, as the prayers fade, the procession descends. Step by step, they return, their bowls empty, their robes trailing the scent of incense. The people return to their lives, to work, to food, to voices rising once more. The smoke lingers above, faint but steady, a reminder of what has been. Offered that the ziggurat stands unchanged, its stones warm in the sun, its steps silent once more. It does not move, it does not speak, yet it holds all things, prayers, smoke, footsteps, silence. A mountain of brick and faith, forever joining. Earth and sky. The scribe's chamber, The heat of midday lingers, but inside the scribe's chamber, the air is cool and still. Thick walls of clay brick keep out the sun, and narrow windows allow only a soft stream of light. The scent of damp earth mixes with faint smoke from an oil lamp that flickers in the corner. A long wooden table stretches across the room. Upon it lie rows of clay tablets, some freshly molded, their surfaces still soft and smooth, others hardened and marked with lines of symbols, pressed deep into their surface. Beside them rests a collection of reed styluses, their tips cut sharp, each one darkened from use. The scribe sits at the table, his posture straight, his robe simple. In his hands he holds a tablet, freshly shaped and damp to the touch. He presses the stylus into the surface, stroke by stroke, line by line. Each mark is deliberate, carved with patience, carrying the weight of words meant to endure. The symbols take shape, wedges pressed in rows, angled strokes placed beside them. They tell of trade agreements, of harvest counts, of prayers, of laws. To the scribe, each mark is more than play. It is memory captured, thought preserved, the voice of the present carried into the future. A young apprentice sits nearby, watching closely. He molds clay between his hands, shaping it into a small tablet, his fingers clumsy but determined. The scribe glances toward him, offering a few words of guidance, his tone calm, steady. The boy listens, then presses the stylus with care, his marks uneven yet earnest. When he shows his work, the scribe smiles faintly, nodding, before returning to his own task. Around the room, shelves hold tablets stacked in neat rows. Some are sealed with marks of authority, others left open, there. Surfaces etched with poems, hymns, or lists of offerings. Each one is a voice of the city, a fragment of its breath preserved in earth. Together, they form an archive, not of stone or parchment, but of clay drawn directly from the river that sustains all life here. From outside, faint sounds drift in the distant hum of the market, the call of a vendor, the bark of a dog. But within the chamber, the rhythm is only this: the soft press of stylus against clay, the shifting of tablets upon wood, the quiet voice of teacher to student. Time slows, drawn into the patience of writing. The lamp flickers, its flame bending. In the stillness, the scribe sets aside a finished tablet, its surface filled with careful rows of marks. He places it upon a shelf, beside dozens of others, where it will dry and harden in the air. Its words are fixed now, bound not by memory, but by earth. Itself, the apprentice continues, his brow furrowed, his strokes uncertain. At last, he looks up, holding his small tablet forward. The scribe studies it, his gaze patient. He lifts the boy's hand, guiding it gently to show a firmer angle, a steadier press. The boy nods, understanding, and tries again, his lines straighter. This time, his marks more sure. The chamber hums with quiet purpose. It is not the sound of trade or prayer, not the bustle of the street or the climb of the ziggurat. It is the sound of thought made visible, of memory fixed, of silence filled with meaning. As the afternoon passes, the tablets multiply. Some rest. In the light of the window to dry, their surfaces already hardening. Others remain upon the table, damp and malleable, waiting for words yet to come. The shelves grow heavy with the weight of voices, countless, enduring, eternal. The scribe lays down his stylus, stretching his hand. The apprentice gathers the unused clay, reshaping it for tomorrow. The lamp flickers once more, casting long shadows across the rows of tablets. The marks carved today will outlast the men who made them, outlast even the city that surrounds them. For clay remembers, and through it, the voices of Babylon will never be silent. Evening procession to Ishtar. The sun lowers toward the horizon, its light turning the city walls to gold. Shadows stretch long across the streets, and the heat of the day begins to soften. The air shifts, no longer heavy with labor, but touched with anticipation. Evening has come, and with it, the procession for Ishtar. From the courtyards and markets, people emerge in steady streams. Families carry small clay lanterns, their flames newly lit, glowing softly in the dimming light. Merchants close their stalls, covering their wares with woven cloth, and join the flow. Priests step forth from temple doors, their robes of crimson and white trailing across the stones. Musicians gather, carrying drums, lyres, and red pipes wrapped carefully in cloth until the moment of song. The procession begins near the great Ishtar Gate. Its surface glimmers even in the fading light, the deep lapis tiles glowing with a radiance of their own. Lions stride across its walls, bulls press forward, dragons curl upward, all fierce, all eternal. Before it, priests light tall torches, their flames rising into the dusk. The scent of resin fills the air, sharp and sweet, mingling with the coolness of the approaching night. The crowd moves slowly, calmly, voices lower, footsteps steady, lanterns swaying gently in the hands of those who carry them. At the front, the priests raise bowls of incense, the smoke trailing upward, drifting with the evening breeze. They chant in low tones, their words measured, repeated in unison. The sound flows outward, blending with the beating of drums, the hum of flutes, the strum of lyres. Children walk wide-eyed, their faces glowing in the lantern light. They clutch at their parents' hands, whispering questions, pointing toward the torches. Their parents smile softly, bowing their heads as the chants continue. The children imitate them, lowering their gazes, though their eyes still wander upward toward the painted beasts upon the gate. As the procession winds through the streets, the city changes. Windows open, lanterns are set upon sills, incense is lit upon thresholds. Every home becomes part of the ritual. Every voice hums with the rhythm of devotion. The streets glow with scattered lights, weaving together into a river of fire moving steadily forward. The sound of music deepens. Drums beat softly, their rhythm steady as a heartbeat. Pipes cry out in long, rising notes, then fall again into silence. Lyres weave between them, their strings shimmering like water. The voices of the priests rise louder, filling the air with words that call upon the goddess Ishtar, who guards the city, who blesses the harvest, who leads in love and war. At last, the procession reaches the temple. Its steps are broad, its walls painted in rich colors, its roofline crowned with banners. Before its entrance, the torches are planted firmly into the ground. Priests ascend the steps, their voices rising higher, their bowls of incense lifted toward the sky. Behind them, the people bow their heads, lanterns pressed close to their chests. The temple doors open. From within spills a glow of firelight, painting the figures of carved statues within. The chant deepens, echoing against the high walls, filling the space with reverence. The scent of incense thickens, rising upward in clouds that merge with the stars above. The people stand together, their breath slowing, their bodies still. The drums cease, the pipes fall silent, the lyres rest. Only the voices of the priests remain, echoing into the night, calling upward, steady, unbroken, and when the final word is spoken, silence follows. The torches burn on, their flames steady against the dark. The smoke drifts into the sky, carrying prayers beyond sight. The people lift their heads, their faces calm, their lanterns still glowing faintly. Slowly, they turn back toward their homes, their steps quiet, their voices low. The procession has ended, but the night holds its memory in the scent of incense lingering in the air, in the glow of lanterns swaying in doorways, in the silence that follows song. Babylon breathes once more, steady, eternal, beneath the gaze of its goddess. Rest beside the Tigris. The city grows quiet after the procession. Torches burn low upon temple steps. Lanterns sway faintly in doorways, and incense drifts upward in the night air. Beyond the walls, the river waits. The Tigris flows wide and dark, its current steady, its surface touched by moonlight. The stars above shimmer upon the water, breaking and reforming with each ripple. Along its banks, families gather, seeking cool air after the heat of the day. Some sit upon reed mats, there, figures outlined in the glow of small fires. They share bread, dates, and cheese, passing clay cups of beer from hand to hand. Their voices are low, softened by the night. Children laugh quietly as they chase one another along the shore, their feet kicking up dust that drifts away into the breeze. Mothers call them back, their voices gentle, their hands guiding them closer to the circle of light. Fishermen rest their boats upon the bank. The reed craft lie tilted upon their sides, their nets stretched out to dry. The men sit beside them, their shoulders relaxed, their hands busy repairing frayed ropes. From time to time, they glance toward the river, where the current moves unbroken, carrying with it the reflection of stars. The air is rich with scents. Smoke from the fires mingles with the fragrance of roasted lamb, its fat sizzling upon skewers. The smell of bread lingers, baked earlier in the day, mingled with the faint sharpness of onions and herbs. And beneath it all lies the steady freshness of the river itself, cool and clean. Grounding the senses. In the distance, the sounds of animals drift faintly across the fields. Donkeys bray, sheep murmur, dogs bark once and then grow silent. Closer by, the steady chorus of crickets fills the reeds, their voices weaving with the rustle of the wind. The night is alive with sound, yet every note feels gentle, woven into harmony with the river's breath. Somewhere along the bank, a flute begins to play. Its tone is soft, unhurried, rising and falling like the flow of water. The melody drifts across the families gathered, carried on the wind, joining their voices, their laughter, their silence. Children pause to listen, their eyes lifting too. The stars, as the notes linger above them. Elders nod slowly, their gazes distant, as though the music calls up memories too old for words. A young boy lies upon his back, staring at the sky. He points upward toward a bright cluster of stars, whispering their names as his father taught him. His sister lies beside him, following his gesture, repeating the names softly until they drift into murmurs. Their parents smile, watching, their hands resting upon one another's as the night settles around them. The fires burn lower, lanterns dim. Families wrap themselves in woven blankets, their bodies curling close upon mats of reeds. Their voices fade, replaced by the sound of breathing. The occasional murmur of a dream. The river flows on beside them, steady, unbroken, endless. Above, the moon climbs higher, casting its light across the water, across the fields, across the resting city. The stars scatter brighter in its wake, filling the sky with their silent song dot. And upon the banks of the Tigris, the world lies in calm, cradled by water, sky, and silence. The courtyard of stars. Night has deepened fully now, the city wrapped in shadow. Fires burn low in the courtyards, lanterns flicker faintly against clay walls, and the streets grow quiet. But upon the rooftops and temple courtyards, a different kind of life awakens, one that looks not to earth, but to the sky. The air is cooler here, touched with the scent of incense that still lingers from the evening's procession. The hum of crickets rises from the fields, blending with the distant call of an owl. Above, the heavens stretch vast and unbroken, filled with countless stars. They shine in clusters, in rivers of light, in shapes that seem to whisper stories. Older than memory, in a courtyard near the ziggurat, a group of priests gather. Their robes glow pale in the moonlight, their heads bowed as they prepare their instruments. One carries a clay tablet, its surface smooth and damp, ready to bear the marks of the night. Another holds a stylus of reed, sharpened to a fine point. Others carry measuring rods, cords, and small bowls of oil used to mirror the stars upon their surface. They spread their tools upon a low table, then lift their gazes skyward. Their eyes move slowly, tracing patterns, following the rising and setting of constellations. The brightest among them, the bull of heaven, the great twins, the lions stand clear against the darkness. The priests whisper their names, their voices soft, reverent, carrying them into the night. An elder priest raises his hand, pointing toward the horizon. A star has just risen, glowing faintly, marking the turning of the season. Another priest bends over his tablet, pressing marks into the clay. Each wedge is careful, precise, fixed into earth so that the sky's movements may endure beyond the moment. Children, too, gather nearby. They lie upon the rooftops beside their families, their faces tilted toward the stars. Their parents point upward, naming constellations, telling stories of gods and heroes that walk among the heavens. The children listen with wide eyes, their voices repeating the names, their memories binding sky and story together. The night grows deeper and the stars brighter. The Milky Way stretches overhead like a river of light, mirroring the waters of the Tigris and Euphrates below. To the people of Babylon, the two rivers reflect one another, one flowing through the earth, the other through the heavens. What happens above, they believe, will shape what happens below. The priests continue their work. Their voices murmur in rhythm, marking the hours, noting the rising stars, the path of the moon. Each mark pressed into clay carries weight, not just as record, but as guidance, as warning, as promise. The heavens are not distant to them. They are near, alive, filled with meaning waiting to be read. A breeze moves through the courtyard, carrying with it the faint sound of water lapping against the riverbank. The priests pause, their eyes lifting once more. The stars shimmer above, silent and eternal, yet filled with presence. The men bow their heads, their hands resting upon their tablets, their voices falling silent. Around the city, the same sky spreads wide. Farmers resting on reed mats gaze upward, their eyes following constellations they have known since childhood. Mothers hush their children, pointing toward the moon. whispering prayers for safety, for peace, for dreams without trouble. Shepherds in the fields lean upon their staffs, their flocks lying in clusters around them, their faces lifted toward the glow above. The night holds them all. The stars shine without choosing, without ending, scattering light upon every roof, every field, every home. They are the same stars that have guided caravans, that have watched over kings, that have endured through flood and fire. They will shine tomorrow and the day after, and for all the days beyond memory. The priests make their final marks upon the clay. The tablets are set aside to dry, their symbols carved deep, their meaning bound within. The courtyards grow quieter. The families close their eyes. The shepherds lean into their cloaks. And above it all, the stars remain steady, countless, eternal. The ziggurats under the moon. The city sleeps, its voices quiet, its fires dim. The streets that only hours ago thrummed with footsteps and song now lie still, lanterns swaying faintly in the night breeze. Beyond the walls, the fields are silent, the flocks resting in clusters, their shepherds curled into cloaks beneath the stars. And above it all, steady, immovable, the ziggurat rises, a mountain not of earth, but of brick and devotion. Its base stands broad, rooted deep in soil baked, hard by centuries of sun. From this foundation, layer upon layer ascends, each level built by countless hands, each terrace rising closer to the heavens. By day, it glows in bands of color, red, white, blue, bright as the sky itself. But at night, under the silver gaze of the moon, it becomes something else. The colors fade into shadow, the edges sharpen against the sky, and the whole structure takes on an otherworldly presence, as though it belongs not to Earth, but to the stars. At its base, priests keep vigil. Torches flicker in iron bowls, their flames leaning with the wind, casting golden light across the steps. The men move with quiet purpose, adjusting the fires, tending incense at low altars. The smoke rises in thin streams, drifting upward, curling along the face of the ziggurat before vanishing into the dark. Their robes shift softly in the breeze, their sandals scrape lightly against the stone, but otherwise there is silence. One priest begins the long climb. His vessel of oil rests against his chest, wrapped carefully in cloth. His head is bowed, not in exhaustion, but in reverence. Each step he takes echoes faintly, a steady rhythm swallowed quickly by the open night. The climb is not hurried. It is deliberate, each movement a prayer in itself. Higher and higher he ascends, until the city spreads beneath him. From this height, Babylon is a patchwork of rooftops and courtyards, lanterns glowing faintly like scattered stars below. The river gleams beyond the walls, its surface silver, its curves winding endlessly across the plain. The horizon melts into shadow, broken only by distant flickers of fire, shepherds' camps, the glow of small villages, the breath of life spread across the land. At the summit rests the shrine. It is small compared to the vast terraces below, yet it is the heart of the structure. Its walls are painted with stars and constellations, its roof crowned with horns of bronze that gleam faintly in the moonlight. Before it, an altar waits, its surface smooth, its edges carved with sacred signs. Here earth meets heaven, the mortal hand meets the divine. The priest kneels, he unwraps the vessel, pours the oil slowly upon the flame. The fire responds, leaping higher, its glow bright against the painted walls. The smoke thickens, carried swiftly upward by the breeze, merging with the stars overhead. His lips move in prayer, words too soft to hear, yet carried into the silence with weight that feels eternal. He remains for a time, his body still, his head bowed. Then, rising slowly, he steps to the edge of the terrace. His eyes wander outward. He sees the Euphrates gleaming, the fields stretching, the city resting, the stars endless above. And in that moment, the ziggurat becomes more than stone, more than brick. It is a bridge, a ladder of faith rising from earth into sky, carrying voices, carrying memory, carrying hope. The wind brushes against him, tugging gently at his robe. It stirs the incense smoke, bending it eastward. It sighs against the carved stone, whispering like a voice older than memory. The priest closes his eyes, listening, his breath steady, his hands resting loosely at his sides. Then, at last, he bows once more and begins the long descent. Step by step, he fades into the shadowed stairway. The torches burn on below, there, flames steady, their glow warm against the stone. The shrine remains above, its altar glowing faintly in the moonlight, and the ziggurat stands unbroken. It does not move, it does not change, yet it holds all things. Prayers, smoke, silence, eternity. It has seen kings rise and fall, floods sweep through fields, walls crumble and be rebuilt. It has seen countless nights just like this one, and countless more will follow. The ziggurat belongs to both the people and the heavens, rooted in soil, crowned by stars. Its presence is endless, its purpose eternal, and beneath the gaze of the moon, it waits. A mountain built by hands, yet greater than hands, silent, steady, unbroken, keeping watch until dawn returns. The rivers eternal. Beyond the sleeping city, beyond the watchtowers and fields, the rivers flow. The Tigris and the Euphrates, twin lifelines of the land, move steadily through the plain, carving paths of silver through the darkness. There, waters glimmer beneath the moon, restless yet unhurried, carrying with them the memory of mountains, valleys, and time itself. On their banks, the reeds whisper softly, bending with the breeze. Frogs croak in hidden pools, their voices carrying across the stillness. Crickets sing from the grasses, weaving their steady song into the night. The rivers answer with their own voice, a low, eternal murmur, endless, unbroken. Families rest upon their shores, their fires burned low, their mats spread across the earth. Children curl against their parents, blankets drawn to their chins. The elders sleep with hands folded, their breaths slow, their dreams deep. From time to time, one stirs, glancing upward at the sky, then returns to stillness. Their bodies rise and fall with the rhythm of the rivers, as though they too were carried within the current dot. The waters move on, past villages small and hidden, where dogs sleep at thresholds and roosters stir faintly in the dark. They pass fields of barley, their stalks rustling in the night wind. They pass groves of date palms, their fronds heavy, their fruit glimmering faintly in the moonlight. They pass herds resting in clusters, their forms dark against the earth, their breath warm and steady. Everywhere the rivers touch, they leave. Life on the distance, fishermen rise from their sleep. They push narrow boats into the current, their poles pressing softly against the riverbed. The water parts around them, carrying them outward, their silhouettes dark against the glow of stars. Nets are lowered, their weights pulling deep, their cords tightening with the promise of harvest. The men hum those songs as they work, their voices blending with the sound of water, fading into the vastness of the night. At a bend where the two rivers nearly meet, priests stand upon a low embankment. They carry no offerings of bread or oil, only their voices. They lift them softly into the air, chanting the ancient hymns that honor the rivers themselves. They call them fathers, mothers, life-givers, guardians. Their words drift outward, carried by the current, mingled with the breath of water. The rivers do not answer, but their steady flow is answer enough. The stars above blaze brighter now. Constellations scatter across the heavens, each one a mirror of the lives below. The bull of heaven stands high, its form vast against the dark. The scorpion lingers low, its tail curling, its body faint but enduring. The Milky Way stretches like a third river, a path of light flowing forever above. To those who watch, it is clear, earth and sky are bound, river and star forever joined. The waters move on. They remember the footsteps of caravans that followed, their banks, the voices of kings who built their cities near their bends, the prayers of farmers who sowed their fields by their flood. They remember all things, each word spoken, each life lived, each song sung. Their memory is endless, their patience eternal. The rivers have seen beginnings, and they will see endings. But they themselves do not end. A heron rises from the reeds, its wings spreading wide, its cry echoing once before, fading into the night. Its reflection shimmers upon the water, then disappears as it lifts into the sky. Moments later, the surface calms again, smooth, shining, unbroken. The rivers do not hold onto what passes through them. They carry it onward, always onward. And as you stand beside them, listening, you feel the same truth. The rivers flow, the stars endure, the city sleeps, and time moves ever forward. What has been will never vanish, only carried, only remembered within the current. The Tigris flows, the Euphrates flows. Together they cradle the land, carrying its life, its memory, its stories. Into the horizon dot, and beneath the moon's silver gaze, they continue, steady, timeless, eternal. Here, between the Tigris and Euphrates, the world rests. The rivers flow onward, carrying with them the memory of countless generations. The ziggurats stand in silence, their steps reaching toward the heavens, and above it all, the stars shine, as they always have, steady, distant, eternal. Perhaps, just as the ancients gazed upward in wonder, so too do we, still searching, still listening, still carried by the same currents of time. For the rivers continue, the stars endure, the city sleeps, and the rest of the story has yet to be written.